Blessed love to each and every one. Salamta. Oh, yes. Give thanks for your presence with us. You are definitely here in the Tiger's Nest. The Honorable Priest Isaac here with you. We're going to have a nice presentation here just in a few moments. Of course, I'm very thankful that you have taken the time to come and sup with us. And what we're going to be speaking about is the earth's rightful ruler. Emperor Haile Selassie the First. And I'm just going to show you with a clip of Richard Nixon when Haile Selassie I visited the White House in the 1970s. I'm going to use this clip and prove to you that Haile Selassie is Earth's rightful ruler. Now, this is not religion. This, I don't know if this is even theology, pardon me. This is just reality, history, geopolitics. Now, even before we go further, remember that we're talking about Sunday, the 20th day of December, Fairy Tale Folly Days and Nursery Crimes, the online lecture. We have some special offers that will go with this lecture, but once you stay with me throughout this presentation, which I'm definitely hoping that you would stay with us throughout this presentation, we will be giving you some more information as it relates to this upcoming lecture on the 20th day of December. But as it relates now to Emperor Haile Selassie I, as it relates to the whole aspect of Earth's rightful ruler, or Earth's rightful ruler, I should say. Now, there are two documentaries that we have done, not documentaries really, two YouTube episodes. One of them was a lecture, what you would call it, an online lecture as such. One was a lecture presentation. In fact, both of them were. I'm talking about the is Haile Selassie a Mason? And what's the other name? The other one, who is this King of Glory? Wow, there's so many of them that we have done. Listen, my people, we have a line of YouTube videos directly dealing with Haile Selassie. Some of them with some unique titles. Some of them people feel the titles are to grab attention. No, it ain't to grab no attention. It's to touch the subject area. I think we have one called is Haile Selassie the Almighty, one known as Haile Selassie the Human. You need to check those out. I think we did one, what the world thinks of Haile Selassie or thought of Haile Selassie during his time. I think we have a part one and a part two to that one. Is Haile Selassie really alive? Let me see what else. We have several programs on video that we did specifically as it relates to the Emperor of Ethiopia, the King of Kings, Emperor Haile Selassie I. Now, why I'm highlighting these episodes is because for example, just a few days ago, we did one on Santa Claus and Haile Selassie. Some people flip, like what? I definitely delight in sweeping away the spookism and bringing to the table the reality of Emperor Haile Selassie I. Now, if you know me, there's a strong theological understanding as it relates to Negus Nagas. Theology is the study of the Almighty, the study of the Most High, the study of that intelligent nucleus that governs all things. In other words, theology is the study of God. And when we go into the theological realms, not necessarily history, not necessarily geopolitics, although you could utilize them in the theological discussion, but when we go into the theological realms, it's Katamawe Haile Selassie all the way. Not necessarily religion, but even when you go into religious talk, you still can come out with the king clean. But I like to deal on the historical, geopolitical, what we would like to call realistic level. Now, when we did Haile Selassie, or is Haile Selassie a Mason? They have brethren that leave places, islands in the Caribbean and come right here to Antigua to question me about that. just to show you how zealous they think they are. How is it I can tell people Haile Selassie is a Mason? Me? I ever tell anybody that? Just to show you how small-minded sometimes some of us are, you know. It's a question that was asked. Is Haile Selassie a Mason? But you see, we are so dogmatic that even if he was, and I mean was too, even if he was, not is, but was, you know, it's hard for us to even admit, okay, you're the same one that says that the United Nations is a Freemasonic organization. Yet still we boast that Haile Selassie is one of the founding members and one of the original drafters of the Declaration of Human Rights and the protocols that run the United Nations, isn't it so? All right. The Knights of the Garter, which is one of the main points that I drew for in that video. I'm encouraging you to go back on the YouTube and watch it. Is Haile Selassie a Mason? You should watch it if you've never seen it. If you've seen it before, once or maybe twice, you should go back and at least look at it again. We use the Knights of the Garter, which definitely, without a doubt, no one could argue, not only just a Masonic organization, but one of the more outstanding historically as it relates to Masonism and even Freemasonic organizations, the Knight of the Garters. And not only is the emperor a member of that, we showed you the position that he was given at the ceremony of the Knights of the Garter, which was the only ceremony that he attended. And it was clear, according to, you know, the protocols of that ceremony, the position that he was given the seat of the head of that organization, meaning that the head of that organization had to come out of his seat and give it to the emperor. So what I'm saying also is, when you look at the documentary that we did or the lecture that we did, who is the King of Glory? In fact, I think about a month or so ago, we somewhat redid it. I think I prefer that one, the one we redid, because what we did, we had a YouTube presentation where we watched the documentary that we did and, you know, made some extra commentary on it as it relates to that one, who is the King of Glory. And what we highlighted in that one now is the inauguration of the Iranian or the Persian King of Kings, which was the Shah of Iran at that time. And he had this big banquet, this illustrious celebration to crown himself King of Kings. You remember that video? Man, if you have not seen that, you should go and watch it. Who is the King of Glory? Everything is there on my YouTube channel. And what happened now, remember, all the heads of the world was there. And you see, this is the outstanding point. We are speaking of gatherings where all the heads of the nations, where all the world leaders, if not the world leaders, at least one of their chief representatives are gathered here. And one of the situations here is the crowning of Shah, the Shah of Iran, also known as the King of Kings. At least that's what he referred to himself as. Now, of course, with all these leaders, the emperor was also present, Haile Selassie I. And all you have to do is to observe the ceremony, observe the banquet. As one of the officials said, every leader had to come with the minimum, or not minimum, pardon me, maximum, I think was 5 people. You know, they couldn't bring more than 5 people with them. The emperor came with 75. Even the fella that was saying that, he said, but when the emperor came, I mean, like, everybody was like in shock. What were we to do? But you had to do something. That was the point. This is what I'm saying. The position of the emperor. Everyone had to come and bow before the Shah. The emperor didn't have to come and bow before the Shah. Very interesting. Even when the Shah was shaking the people's hand, I'm talking about the kings of the other countries, the queens of the other countries. You see the emperor standing up behind him, observing all of that. At the dinner table, and even before we get to the dinner table, this is very key. The Shah's wife, which is supposed to be the queen of queens, chaperoning the emperor for the 3-day visit. Now, when you understand the science of all of this, this is very, very important. It's all about diplomacy, really. That's why when a head of state visits another head of state, and the both of them are, married as such, you would see sometimes they exchange wives. Sometimes I believe it's more than what the camera catches. But anyway, let's stick to the diplomacy. They exchange wives. You understand? It's just a part of the diplomatic gesture, really. So you're telling me now you have all the heads of states here. This is the Shah, backed by the CIA, by the way. Oh yeah, I'm sure you've listened to Perkins, the economic hitman. But by the way, that's something that's very key to understand here too. As I always said, that proves that Haile Selassie being very genuine, because there was already a king of kings, and for some reason the world believed they needed a next king of kings. And quite strange that this new king of kings invited the real king of kings to come to his little, party when he was going to be crowned or given the title king of kings. And interestingly, all the kings and dukes and princes and presidents and prime minister had to come and bow to this new king of kings, except the old king of kings. Then now, the king of kings' wife, the queen of queens, I'm talking of the Shah, she was the one that chaperoned the emperor of Ethiopia throughout the full festivities, the 3 days. Again, symbolically important, because in the midst of all of these other heads of states, male figures, the Shah could have easily said, chaperone Prince Philip, the Queen Elizabeth's husband. He left the Queen home. Be with him, because he's the highest ranking person here. Or chaperone the vice president, whoever from this place. And the Duke of this place is here. Or the prince of that place is here. Go and walk with him. No. She chaperoned. Remember, he is the new king of kings, as he called himself. And it is his party. This is his party. All these heads came and bowed to him. Interesting. Except one. The one that broke all the rules, that brought much more people than he was supposed to bring. I'm talking of Haile Selassie. And you give him your wife and say, hey, pretty up yourself and make sure you take care of the king of kings. Or is that supposed to be me? Well, negus and negas. Because if it's one thing, the Shah may be king of kings, but Haile Selassie is negus and negas. That's for sure, if you want to get technical with the word sound. Now, you see the reason why I'm pulling all of this up, and I really would prefer that you go and observe the documentation that I'm speaking of. I'm speaking directly, again, of the master of, not the master of ceremonies, pardon me. Well, that's the next one all by itself, but that's more on a theological level, to be honest. The master of ceremony, which is one of our first official full-length documentary, The Master of Ceremony, which I'm sure you know right now is available in a bundle of the Master of Ceremonies, the documentary 7, and of course, The Night of the Black Tiger. Yes, there's a special going on, and these 3 documentaries for sure that you could definitely get them at a very special price of $50 plus a whole month's worth free of the shock of the hour when you make that payment there. And the same thing is for our 3 ebooks as well, being the book Anu, the biblical land of Israel, the true biblical land of Israel, and of course the earliest book, which is what you would call the latest ebook, The Heavens Declare the Glory, Rastafari and the Cosmos. So the reality is now, looking at it from a realistic perspective, pardon me, someone may say, so okay, so he's considered this high-ranking world leader. That doesn't make him God. What are you talking about? You're changing the discussion. We ain't talking about making nobody God. We're talking about what you just said. You see, you got to keep in mind, and even we as Rastafari, and even those of you who are so-called conscious, we're supposed to be in an uproar about this. Haile Selassie I is purposely kept out of history as if he didn't exist. That's disgusting. That is disgusting. Watch all those documentaries they have of Queen Elizabeth. They have hundreds of documentaries about Queen Elizabeth and how many world heads of states she met from the time she was a little baby up to now. You don't see them put nothing in there, no clip about the emperor. Why you try to hide him? You hear more about Saddam Hussein than you hear about Haile Selassie. You hear more about Kwame Nkrumah than you hear about Haile Selassie. You hear more about Fidel Castro. You hear more about, call somebody else, Ronald Reagan, any leader you call, Genghis Khan, anybody you can think about that's a leader, Gandhi, just call Martin Luther King, Mandela, give me somebody else, anybody. You hear more about them than you hear about Haile Selassie. They so want to keep the king quiet that they hardly say anything bad about him. Like they say, listen, don't even say nothing bad. Just shh. And it's disgusting. You know why? Because in all, this is why we do what we do. I refuse to stop. In all of what you see me present, it shows you that Haile Selassie was not just a world leader, but the most outstanding. Give me a break, man. Up until the last moment, Haile Selassie was the most outstanding leader in the world for his whole reign. From the time he get crowned up until 1974, there was not another leader, nobody you can call that had more ranks on this planet here more than Haile Selassie I. And we have proven that. Nobody can dispute that. It cannot be denied. And that is why I am asking you to look at the Night of the Black Tiger. I'm talking about Night of the Black Tiger now. I'm talking about is Haile Selassie amazing? Check it out. And the reason for that is so that when you get into the video itself, you get to understand the position that the heads of states had Haile Selassie I. That is why I'm telling you to look at who is this King of Glory. When you look at that documentary or that presentation, you get another level of understanding of how Haile Selassie I was seen. Even that documentary we did, I keep calling them documentary. That episode we did on YouTube, what did the world think of Haile Selassie? Something of the sort. You could find it. What did the world think of Haile Selassie? Something like that. Man, that one heavy. That one will show you how the different heads of states addressed Negus and Nagas. And again, the position that he held when he was amongst them. But listen again. I'm going to show you something now. All of what I said a moment ago was to just somewhat prepare you for what I'm going to show to you in a moment. Because, again, in the 1970s, what about the one we did with the Pope Pius VI, man? Anyway, in the 1970s, Haile Selassie I, in one of his visits to the United States of America, visited Richard Nixon. Tricky Dicky, eh? Richard Nixon. And there was this banquet that Richard Nixon had for the world leaders. Listen to me good. So again, like the Shah, we have this gathering of the world leaders. And even if everybody could not make it, they were sure to send the next in line, the heir apparent, the foreign minister, or at least their husband or wife. In most cases, their husband, when it was a woman running the show, like the Queen of England I'm talking about. But because remember, she did not want to entertain the Shah of Iran because he was taking the title, the King of Kings. I didn't say that. The British representative was saying that in the documentary, if you could remember that. The Queen of England didn't want to come because, you know, as a high-standing monarch, it would look a sort of how for her to be honoring another person who's saying there's King of Kings, but she never had no problem. She never had any problem whatsoever honoring Negus and Negas. So what is the problem? How come she don't want to go and honor the king of Iran, who is now proclaiming himself the King of Kings? It's chess, eh? You have to understand the science and understand the reality of it. Okay, let us look at this video here. Don't lose me now. This is a short video, 1970, the 26th of October, and Richard Nixon entertained foreign statement. Okay, so you have different leaders and representatives from the world. I personally, I can't recognize everybody that's coming out here, but I'm telling you, they're the heads of the different states from the world, European states, African states, South American countries, and representatives, as I said, foreign leaders. Here you have, I think this is Mr. Heath. This is the Prime Minister of Britain, Mr. Heath. He's there passing through. I don't know who this fella is, look like some Italian. If I'm wrong, please forgive me. This is Golda Meir. This is the Prime Minister at the time of Israel. This is Golda Meir. You would hear about the infamous Golda Meir. All right, so you see the different heads of state. They're meeting Richard Nixon and his wife. That is Richard Nixon, and this is his wife, Lady Nixon. Richard and Lady, and here you have the Chinese representative or Japanese, whatever going on here, bowing there, sorry, and he gone his way. All right, there's another African leader, and Richard Nixon is shaking his hand. What's going on in the jungle, fella? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, they're rude enough, they would say something like that. All right, and he's meeting all the heads of states, Mr. Nixon and Lady Nixon. Okay, they usually, right, here comes a rabbi or whatever this is. Good, look good in your robe, brother. Keep it up, and yeah. All right, so here we are. And we're going to see now. So all the heads of states are here, the African head of states, different places. Golda Meir is in the midst here, Edward Heath, and whoever else. And you could stay from here and see, look at all of these representatives from the country. These are not just regular people here. This is not a banquet that he's having for Haile Selassie and regular people came. Richard Nixon entertains foreign statesmen at the White House. And you may ask, so why did I stress that? Well, if you look in the far end of this picture here, you could see at the head table, sitting right in front of this important portrait here, at the head table, you have Richard Nixon, and right next to him is Haile Selassie, and right next to Haile Selassie is Richard Nixon's wife. Now, being next to Richard Nixon is grand enough, but being between him and his wife is a supreme statement. Remember, this is all about statementing. This ain't have nothing to do with Richard Nixon. Who is Richard Nixon? I mean, give me a break, Richard Nixon. It's not about him. It's not as if he's some sort of holy being. Give me a break. It's the understanding that the world was penetrating at that time, and even now. And even now, we consider the United States as the great United States. Everybody know who won the last presidential election. Everybody know you know, who the candidates were. Why? Because the whole world is fixed on the US. If an election happens in France or in Spain or in Brazil or in Guatemala or in Antigua or in Trinidad, the whole Trinidad just had an election, the whole world, who win? Eh? The whole world is not fixed on that. But the whole world is fixed on the United States of America, not even Canada. We know for the last 100 years, you don't know the USA. At least the last 50, the USA. New York was heaven, if it's not still heaven, but it's kind of full of COVID now. You understand? So we know the position the United States holds on the planet. And if we're going to pretend as if we don't, well, you're just pretending. So just like Elizabeth II and the monarchy hosting the Knights of the Garter celebration, and Prince Charles, the Prince of Wales, who is, according to tradition, the head of that organization, he had to come out of his seat and give his seat to the emperor. They don't do that for other guests. That should tell you something. The Shah of Iran, he is not just having a banquet, but he is crowning himself the King of Kings at his banquet. This is the Shah of Iran. And what does he do? At the head table, I'm not going to show you that clip because we have done those videos already. At the head table, in fact, at the Shah's dinner table, there were two spots for the head table. He had one and the emperor had the other one. And the emperor was sitting next to his wife. Now remember, the emperor didn't come with a wife, eh? So it was no exchange or nothing, you know, man. The man was just by his own lonely self, and his wife was chaperoning the emperor, his wife. This is very, very important. That means, this ain't got nothing to do with the Bible, yo. That means that this individual known as Haile Selassie is considered by these head of states as the chief statesman in the world, or else none of this could have happened. Watch this here now, in front of your eyes. Look at that. Look at there. Look at there. We ain't paying no homage to Tricky Dicky. We're just showing you how diplomacy works. Why is it Haile Selassie? Okay, why is it that Golda Meir, the Prime Minister of Israel, why isn't she sitting there? Mr. Heath, the PM of Great Britain, of which the United States is the former colony of, why is he not sitting there? And the emperor is between Nixon and his wife. Not just next to him, because somebody is next to Nixon to his left, and somebody is next to his wife to her right. But the individual is like chess again, eh? It's like a statement being made. The individual that is sitting between him and his wife obviously is the highest ranking person in the room. And I got to be passionate about it because it disgusts me how the world, not you, my listeners, in not feel the way, I just mean the world, even around where I live, where people just act as if Haile Selassie doesn't exist. Shameful, just to show you how much we have been so brain scrubbed by this disgusting system that has enslaved our people and given us our heroes. That's why I don't play around. Don't give me no hero. I don't want no Nelson Mandela as my hero. Keep that for yourself. Keep all your Martin Luther Kings and whoever else you pull out. I don't want no Barack Obama. Don't tell me about no Kamala. All of a sudden, Joe Biden is my hero now. Fire. Hold that for yourself. Haile Selassie the first is my hero. That's what I push in the heads of my children and anybody that come around me. Because nobody doing it. Nobody. It's disgusting. Holy Manuel Selassie, Jah, Rastafari. Anyway, give thanks. Yeah, man, it is disgusting, eh? Trust me. how they handle this situation and act as if the king was never there. Look at that. Anyway, as I said, just highlighting for sure the 20th day of December. Oh yes, as I said, we have a special here, and I'm sure some of you have already. Hey, listen, before I even go into the special, let me just remind you, this is so important. Please, my family, let me remind you again. Anytime you make any payments using the Cash App, listen to me. It's very important that you email me and let me know of your transaction and what it's for. I agree. When you make the Cash App, obviously it shows you who did it. And also it tells you the reason, you should send the reason. Sometimes you put lecture, but which lecture? You understand? Even if you're sending a donation, we don't be begging nobody no money. We work for what you get me. But even if you feel, which you are correct, that you should make a donation to such, please at least let us know this is what this is. You understand? We don't even transfer the finance unless we are sure what it is. So that is very important. So you are paying for this lecture coming up, let us know. You could just put lecture, but email me personally so I could make the connection. Don't just do it and go to sleep. Very important that you email me. All right. So what I'm saying now for sure, Wednesday, the date of Wednesday, the second. Wednesday is the 2nd of December, at least Wednesday after you've heard this lecture here, this episode. Wednesday is the 2nd of December. You have until Wednesday. What, to buy my ticket? No, not necessarily. You could buy your ticket the very day of the lecture. I hope you don't wait that long. But Wednesday, if you get your ticket before Wednesday, you will be getting 2 whole strongs of our nightly radio program, The Shock of the Hour. Oh, yeah. That's Wednesday, the 2nd of December. So if you buy your ticket, which is only $20 United States currency, you can pay via the Cash App, which is the simplest way to do this. If you have some problem using Cash App, just email us and we will work it out. But I'm telling you that from you buy your ticket before this Wednesday, the 2nd of December, you could look forward the moment you buy it, whether you buy it on the Wednesday or you buy it now. The moment you make your purchase, you will start to get the Shock of the Hour radio program for 2 strongs. And let me tell you a secret, don't tell nobody else. But you're gonna get more than that, eh? But I mean, yeah, that's what you have to. But you're gonna get much more than that. But anyway, let me keep that between me and you. So that's very important. Now, if for some reason, I don't know why, you hesitate to buy it, anything after Wednesday the 2nd, but before Wednesday the 9th, if you make that purchase after Wednesday the 2nd, that means you missed the 2 strong, but you make the purchase for this lecture before Wednesday the 9th, I will give you a strong 1 week, as they call it, of the Shock of the Hour. But that's what you're gonna get, just a week. Yeah, of the Shock of the Hour. But I mean, trust me, man, you'll definitely delight in that. So for sure, looking forward for all of you who are going to take the opportunity that is ahead of you. I'm talking about Sunday the 20th day of December. How many of you watch the Snow White episode that we put up before this? Now go and watch it, man. I know some of you look and see Snow White and we don't even talk about these things. You see, this is the problem. You don't understand what's going on around you. You understand? So you see, we put up Snow White. You see something here with Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, Winnie the Pooh. You think we're coming to play around. You think this is the Kitty Cat Club. You think this is Sesame Street. You think this is the Lollipop Show. Nah, man, this ain't the Muffets. This is understanding the science of the esoterics. You understanding the mind-bending science of witchcraft. All of this is witchcraft. This is witchcraft. Which one? Witchcraft. And as the unravelers here, we are unraveling the science of exactly what is happening in front of you. This is very, very important. So bring your children and come to this lecture, child friendly for sure. You know, talking about 7 p.m. in the evening time, the 20th day of December. Looking forward to seeing you. Of course, you know, once you are a member of the Shock of the Hour, and listen, man, it's best to just subscribe to the Shock of the Hour and done, from your subscribe to the Shock of the Hour, all of this talking is not even, you know what I mean, necessary for you. Everything that we have will be just coming right there in your lap. Hey, all you have to do is go below in the description, the link to the account, the Cash App account, or the Cash App itself is in the description below. That's below this video here. You go in the description, you see the link right in front of you, and you just press it and it carries you straight to the Cash App. You don't have to type in anything at all. Yeah, so give thanks. And remember also, for those, well, as I said, I'm encouraging you to watch the Snow White video. And remember that Pinocchio Shock of the Hour that we did, as we said, that's available for all those who want it. If you don't know what I'm talking about, watch the Snow White video good and you'll get the full explanation. All right. Well, give thanks for your presence. You know, as we always say, well, this is not the Shock of the Hour, but we always do say on the Shock of the Hour, if you know your Bible and you do not know your history, yeah, the knowledge of your Bible will become a mystery. Give thanks to the life giver and the keeper of life. Holy Emmanuel, I, Selassie, Jah, Rastafari. Yeah, blessed love.